I went up when Sydney was born, and they met me at the plane, and we went out there to Palmer where they were living, and a little later, they get up and they're going to bed, and I said, "What are you doing going to bed, are you?" And they said, "Well, Mom, it's 10:30, and I said, "But the sun's shining
Sun's
still."
still up,
Oh.
Good morning. It is May 5th. Will you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for joining us again. It is May 5th. This is the Broadwater County Commission meeting. And as always, we will take care of some very quick housekeeping. The Broadwater County Commission meetings do follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to open Broadwater County public meetings to all county citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County residents. Commission meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to public comment for the record. Any separate conversations need to be removed from the meeting and conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment will give each citizen who wishes to speak 3 minutes to do so, and all comments will be directed to the board chair. So with that, is there any public comment? John?
You said on YouTube, people in Toston are not getting it.
It's online, so it's not really just for a particular area. What you need to do is youtube.com and then type in Broadwater County Commission and then double click on the blue box at the top and you'll have all the meetings there, if you have internet.
It's on the internet, isn't it?
It is, yes. Any other public comment? Bill?
I just thought you'd find this kind of interesting. It's an article about, comes from the Virginia City Nugget, and it tells about Montana becoming a territory. And it happens that May 26, in 1864, President Lincoln signed the deal for the territory. And 26 usually would be meeting, but it's Memorial Day, so you won't be. But I think I gave you one.
You did.
I just thought it's kind of, you might find it kind of interesting. I gave one to the paper, so.
Thank you, Bill. Any other public comments? Public comments? All right. We will move on then to Montana minutes. Franklin, do you have any Montana minutes you want to share?
No, I don't.
All right, Elaine?
I do.
All right.
You know, I've gotten to travel lots of different places, but always good to come back home. There's nothing like Montana. I love the mountains, I love the big sky, and most of all, I love the people.
Ditto. Very good. My Montana minute actually piggybacks after Bill, and I have a request of the commission. 150 years old is what Montana will be territory-wise on the day after Memorial Day. So I was wondering about maybe getting a cake and having a birthday party after the commission meeting. It's nice out on the lawn if it's not up here. What do you guys think?
I think it'd be great.
And I think that we should pay for it out of our own pockets, not common funds.
Yeah,
That's all
I
right with
agree.
you guys. All right, we will go ahead and plan that.
You know, just a little thing about Centennial. When Montana celebrated their big Centennial, 50 years ago, I was a candidate for Miss Montana Centennial. That's been a
wow.
long time ago,
That's
back in my skinny days.
We live that one, yeah.
We'll get her a tiara.
I think yesterday or the day before about the train, the Centennial train.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. 64, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any Montana minutes from the audience this morning? Paul?
My name is Paul Bray. Montana Minute, I knew the guy in Great Falls who had the quart jars full of gold dust that were on that Centennial train.
Oh,
He was an electrician in Great Falls who liked to go out panning for gold. And he had several quart jars of gold flakes in his shop in Great Falls. And the state borrowed them for the duration of that train ride.
Wow.
Neat.
Yeah.
Kind of a story off the subject, but not. Bob's grandfather and his brother went to Alaska in the gold rush, and they were gonna make a killing. They ended up having to cook their way back in mining camps. Went out here to the Drum Lemon, and they got their money at the beach to buy a ranch. I guess you can tell how young they were. Young and foolish.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
My grandfather was down in Texas at that time. He and his cousin decided they were going to the gold fields to make their fortunes. They rode up to Omaha, sold their horses and tack, bought train tickets to San Francisco. And how they got from San Francisco to Seattle, I don't know, but they wound up in Seattle. And the people returning from the gold rush were so full of horror tales about all the good claims that been staked, and the weather was so awful, that neither one of them left Seattle. They stayed in the Seattle area.
I love it.
All right, any other Montana minutes? All right, we have minutes here from April 28, 2014.
Can I see these or here?
Those were sent out Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
And you do a great job.
Thank you.
You get right on it. I just have to say, those people years back were a lot better pioneers than we are today.
What they went through.
Did you make a motion?
No, I did not yet. Go ahead,
Yeah, I'll make a motion for the minutes.
second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of April 28, 2014. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Ann. All right, we have section 404 permits. There is a seminar with the Army Corps of Engineers. This is June 5th, and that fits along with the Conservation District, if you're interested in going, Franklin.
There you go.
It's a light mail week. This is a intention to issue a wastewater discharge permit for Emery Talc America in Cameron, Montana. It's not here, but if you have a friend that lives there, you might want to let them know. Next, we have a water, sewage, and garbage claim, and that needs to come out from PILT for the extension office.
I'll make a motion that we take out of PIL 6480 to the city of Townsend for water, sewer, and garbage in the ambulance building.
Absolutely.
It's been moved and seconded to pay from PILT $64.80 for water, sewage, and garbage of the ambulance building. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We have a letter from the Broadwater County Trust Board from Chairman Virgil Binkley. Dear Commissioners, the Broadwater Trust Board voted April 26, 2014 to fund an increase of $2,500 to the Old Baldy Recreation Association grant. The original grant of $18,622 was approved on July 2013. Due to no fault of the OBRA, Old Baldy Recreation Association, there have been delays, and since that time, construction costs have increased. The grant will be used to improve the bathroom, septic, and road repairs. The revised grant is now $21,122. And we do need to approve that, as that is an advisory board. The funding comes from the cabin sales that fund the Broadwater County Trust Board.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request put forth by the trust board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Oh, thank you. We have claims in the amount of $52,298.84.
Did you say that number again? 52 what?
52,298.84.
I'll make a motion to approve claims, $52,298.84.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay those approved claims. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank you. All right, with that, it is 10:15. Dana Rouser, Road Bridge Monthly Update. Good morning.
How you doing?
Morning, Dana.
Good, how are you?
Good. First of all, I got some of these little CDs, that Mike's got that thing set up to grind this parking lot out back here, be the first week of June.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you guys wanna look at those, it's just demonstrations kinda on what, how they work and all that, I mean, if you wanna throw them into your computer and look at them, whatever.
Are they all
Thank you.
different or?
Yeah, a little bit, this one, they did a city street thing in Libby, and then this one here is just kind of another demonstration, this here is like gravel road stuff, if you wanna do gravel road stuff with it, but,
Do you have copies of these?
no,
You wanna keep them in the commissioner's office? and
if
then-
you want to, that's
Okay, and
fine.
then I'll return
Yeah.
them to you in a month, and that way, whenever you guys come in, we can watch them, or you can watch them
Mhm.
individually. All right.
I went to that FEMA meeting Friday, and I'll give Debbie a copy of this. I guess this is the deal that we signed the other day, just for, they want us to sign so they can get started coming here next week. And all this is just a information, page, for our county stuff, so.
That's for FEMA?
Yeah. So anyway, they're gonna come back, they'll be here Thursday, I think. And luckily, we get the same guy that was here before, so we don't gotta go over a whole bunch of stuff. I gotta get a few more things together as far as grader work and stuff like that, so, fairly simple one.
Was he pretty good to work with, the guy on Jerry?
Yeah, no, he's real good, he wrote the thing up for us, and everything, and he's got everything he needs, so it'll make it a little bit easier to, I thought we were gonna get somebody new, and then have to take them over the whole same situation again,
Yeah.
which I don't know why they do that, but. Some of these gravel pits I've got, when we go to gravel, I wanna, we'll have to, well, we won't have to, but I'm gonna do a file search on some of these gravel pits. SHPO, it's a historical preservation thing. FEMA and the feds don't want you using, any gravel pit you use gravel out of has gotta be DEQ approved, which ours are. Lime plant is, of course, but they've gotta be SHPO approved too. And what that is, they've gotta make sure there's no archaeological stuff in these, so I'm gonna have to just go ahead, in fact, just do I think it's $25 for three,
Okay.
3 sections, which will be 3 sites. So I'll just go through them and just make sure we're okay,
Sure.
I guess, and then they'll have that information in case we ever gotta use any of it on any federal project, you know, at least we'll have that stuff out of the way. That's kind of a,
Why are they doing this?
Well, they've done that for quite a while.
well, the SHPO thing hasn't been
I never
for,
heard SHPO, but I mean, they
yeah,
come in on these.
yeah. It's just, they just don't want you digging around where some,
Might be a dinosaur or something.
You know, Indian artifacts or
Yeah.
Indian, that's, I don't know, might want to be the only question, but it's already been approved anyway, hasn't it?
well, not SHPO.
A lot, anyway. I know I've done
SHPO.
digging on the other side of the mountain there, and, people were there watching while I was digging, they dug up a Indian or
TP ring or
buffalo, or,
something.
yeah, they were there all the time,
And there is some TP rings
yeah.
over on that side, and I know where they're at, I just, they're not, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know anything where the pit is.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
But, anyway, we'll get that taken care of, and then we'll know. And they'll give us a little piece of paper saying that we're okay. Just another issue I've got, I talked to Nicole, when Nicole is here, about this, silos situation we've got out there. It's, what it is, it's, we've got, in fact, I should have brought my map with me, but we've got county roads in there and we've got RID roads in there. I take care of Pond Road, Cactus Road, which are, exterior roads. BSC is contracted through the county to take care of the county roads within the subdivision and the RID portions. So I visited with Nicole a little bit, and I'd kind of like to get rid of those roads, the county roads in the subdivision. So they're all, either they're all county or they're all RID. So we're not having to go, switch through accounts and doing this and that, it just come out of one account and call it good. And I questioned Nicole a little bit about it, and I don't know, did you come up with anything else on that? I've talked to a few people out there, just this last week, and I think they'd be open to possibly just running everything into RID and just, the county just get out of the interior of the subdivision. We did a lot of work out there the last couple of weeks, last week and a half. Got Hahn Road all pulled up and gravelled and taken care of. We still gotta do some stuff to it, but, BSC was in there doing some grading. We went in there and reshaped some roads, got rid of a bunch of junk and rolled them all down, and I think they all look pretty darn good right now. And there's, most everybody's pretty happy there, as far as the roads go, I think, I haven't heard any negatives, but, I don't know, what did you come up with?
Well, I had actually 2 residents call me and ask, and it was after all of that work was done, and the roads are in great shape out there, and wanted to know about how to create an RID, 2 completely separate residents. They hadn't communicated with each other. So I think the visual aspect of seeing the condition of these roads and how great they look, they wanted to keep that going. And so I kind of just jotted down some thoughts that, some steps that we could take to do this. My first thought would be to have a public hearing with those residents and see if they would be open to the idea of the county pulling out of all of those roads. I haven't checked, but I believe that even the folks that have frontage on a county road are also paying into the RID because of the location of those roads. Those RID roads essentially block some of them on the northern portion to Silos Road. And so they're still paying because they're still utilizing those roads and they're utilizing the RID portion. I don't know the exact dollar amount, and I can't say that every one of the residents in Silos are paying into the RID, but I know there's a significant amount of them that are. So my thought was that we could hold a public hearing with those residents. I think an evening meeting would be beneficial so we could get the most input from those residents and just see how they would feel about the creation of an RID for that area, the county could then abandon all of those county roads and we could implement an RID. I mean, that's the quick and dirty version of it. Of course, there's a lot more that would go into it. And so if the commission was amenable to this, I could certainly go and start pulling some tax records, just random, I don't necessarily want to pull them all right now, but just random areas of the residents in the silos to see what they are paying for county road service, what they're paying for RID service, so I can give them a dollar amount maybe at this public hearing if you wish to proceed that way. Because I know that would be the first question of any of them. What does it mean if we don't have county road service? What am I paying? How does that affect me? And then, there would be one point of contact in that silo subdivision who would then contact me to say, hey, we want some work done, or anybody, I'm offering myself up. We want some work done. They could go and get the bid from whomever they choose. It wouldn't have to be BSC because it wouldn't be funded by the county. And then we could reimburse them that way through their RID funds. So it seems to me like it would be a pretty smooth process. It's just a matter of talking with those residents. Because I've only talked to two, you've talked to a few, they may be the minority. But I think, again, looking at that map, I should have brought mine up as well. I don't know if you've seen the map of the silos area. I mean, it's just, just random.
Checkerboard, right?
It really is. And so it's difficult for Dana to keep track of. It's difficult for BSC, I'm sure, sometimes, to look at that and say, we start and stop here. We fund this through RID, we fund this through county funds, and it's a subdivision.
Yeah,
It makes sense that it's an RID and not county.
Yeah, and to me, I've seen your RID map of who's paying in there, and that's kind of weird how that line goes down through there, so, it seems there's people paying into it that, like you say, probably don't know they're paying.
Right, yeah, that's just always been on their tax bill, and they might not know what that line item for RID is.
I asked the guy the other day if he was paying into it, and he said, well, he's like, so, I mean, and if Nicole could, once we got this figured out, if she could pull some of those things just to see, who is paying, who isn't, I mean, maybe the majority of them aren't paying.
Right, yeah.
It's hard to say.
So I guess, in lieu of Dana and I, spending a bunch of time, if the commission wasn't agreeable to doing something like this, I think that's what we're both asking today. If the commission would be interested in entertaining this idea for us to move forward and do some legwork and pull some paperwork, and then we'll come back to you and say, okay, we'd like to set this public hearing or public meeting, I guess, for a certain day.
And we won't lose any, as far as our gas tax money, we won't lose any gas tax there, because they're established roads, they're public roads anyway. So, that's not a threat, it's just the idea of taking me out of the equation to say, here, BSC, go in and do it, get it done now, and not, so.
I think it's a good idea for you to go ahead and proceed. My idea. I don't know if you feel, Elaine.
I have to agree. It has to be a nightmare just trying to keep straight, Oops, we can't go on this road, but we'll go on this one,
Well, it's not bad being BSC is contracted for all of us, for us and
Yeah.
the RID portion, so.
But have that one contact person, and that person, or whoever BSC, whoever they have, then county split out.
Kind of like a homeowner association type. Right?
Yeah.
Right. We would collect the funds through taxes and just, keep that in a separate account with the county. When they wanted work performed, they would get the bid, and when they needed that to be reimbursed, we just pull it from that fund. So it really isn't affecting anything other, it's just gonna be them doing the work through this fund. We're simply collecting that money, which is slightly different than a homeowners association, because then residents would have the option of not paying their homeowners association dues. This will be on their tax bill to where they're forced to pay into this RID. And of course, we follow the same procedure. It would have to be 60%, would agree, we definitely do everything just like we have for any other RID.
What are they paying right now per house?
I don't know. I haven't even looked into what they're paying for county road fees or what they're paying for RID.
I thought it was something like $20 a lot or something there for a while, but maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't even looked at a tax
Because I
bill.
think when Warners were, the Warners,
Mhm.
when they did theirs, I think they were $20 a year or something, which, isn't much.
Right.
You know, and I'm paying part of the, you know, part of the county road portion of the maintenance, you know, I'm paying out of my fund. So,
All right, well, it sounds unanimous, so if you guys would go ahead and schedule a meeting, I think that'd be great.
I guess you know, do that.
Yep, I'll do that.
Thank you very much.
And an evening meeting, does everyone agree to that?
That's fine.
Maybe even at the silos,
Yeah?
just at the restaurant bar there?
You know, we're-
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we can get the most participation and hear as many voices as possible.
I suspect a lot of those people work in Helena.
I would imagine. And I think there's quite a few of them that, you know, might live in Bozeman and,
Yeah.
you know, use it for the weekend.
yeah.
But,
Mhm.
you know, and we'll still have to go through the same process of the petition and everything like that. This will simply be an informational meeting to hear what those folks have to say. Maybe we will hear that nobody wants it except for these few people that we talked to. Maybe everyone's in favor of it. We just don't know how to proceed. So I don't want to start circulating a petition without an informational meeting.
Absolutely, yeah. And we need to know what they're thinking, what they want.
Yep.
All right, very good. Any other questions on that subject? Okay.
Okay, other than that, we've got, like I said, I think last time we had, I don't know, we've got, Shelley Road done. We've got Han Road pretty much done, you know, we got a little gravel to do here and there yet, but once FEMA gets completely done, then we'll.
Well, at Pilsen, was there much up there? You know, I talked to that one day, they called me. You gotta take care of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I figured you
I
did.
went up there that day. Got it done, so. Everything's good. I guess.
Shelley and Han, nice job,
Thank you.
well done.
Yeah, and it might take a little bit more time to go back in after things settle, so.
Sure. I think everybody expects that.
Yeah. No, and everything,
Time.
public's been good. I mean, I've been real pleased. I mean, and it's all been, anybody that's called me has been just wondering about, you know, timeframes and, you know, we're gonna get stuff done, so.
Oh, I got another question. Did you ever look at that culvert there in Schaefer? I mentioned to you.
No, I didn't get out there.
Okay. I forgot all about it until just now.
Yeah. And I did see Delbert again too, and he never did say anything about it,
Mhm.
but I'll get out there.
Okay.
Look at it. See what we got there, and go from there, I guess.
All the flooding, did you have to replace many culverts?
We added a couple here and there, in fact, down along that Han Road, we put, there's a couple of approaches there going into the subdivision, we went ahead and just put some pipe in. It's, never been there, so helped that situation out a little bit, at least so hopefully go down both sides of the road. Instead of jump out and go down through the subdivision. So,
Be a nice change.
yeah, be good. Other than that?
All right, anything else for Dana? All
I think
right,
so.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, David, have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, 10:30, we're right on time. Bernadette, COS reviews.
This is a creation of an agricultural tract for Debbie Flynn. Out here is her house. And she was separating the fields from her house, because I think the family wants to retain ownership or buy those fields from her or something, to keep it into the Flynn Farm Ranch. So, there was an existing fence line, and she just wanted to hold that with the house and then the fields.
So does the lot with the house go all the way then to the highway there?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
No.
Guess I'll make a motion that we approve the agriculture tract for Debbie Flynn.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to support the agricultural tract for Debbie Flynn. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just wondered after, last week, if any of you had gone through the fees for subdivision and had any further questions or anything for me.
I'd like to hear from the planning board, I think. I know you guys were working on it, but yeah, I think it's something that we should definitely be looking at.
I had no idea there was such a difference.
Yeah, it's quite amazing difference, but you know, like I said, it's also because it's kind of a catch-22, it's the only money the planning board has to operate on. But then again, if there's none coming through, there's no money coming into the county either.
Right, yeah.
I was surprised even the big counties were so much higher.
Brent was so much lower than us, you mean? Or we were so much higher than them? Yeah. Yeah, you too. Those were interesting numbers.
Us working with other counties, we knew there was a difference, but until I sat down, you know, and figured it out, I was amazed too.
Yeah. And the other question of, is it smarter to have a full package price or item by item? Yeah,
Yeah. And that's, I had talked to the planning board about that, because there's some that don't need those things, and others need all different variances or extensions or whatever, and, you know, they should pay more than the one that's just simple and
Right.
goes through and doesn't require a lot of time and effort.
yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to have that brought to us. Yeah,
Well, thank you.
thank you very much. All right, we have a few minutes. How about we continue with the mail? We have payroll in the amount of $140,146.51.
I'll make a motion to say payroll. I don't know what the amount is, what you just said there, is how much?
140, 146.51.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to pay payroll of $140,146.51. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
What are we gonna do on this, vet bill, like this right there in the horses, what, how do we take care of that? Can I go through the sheriff's department, can I? And it's-
Well,
what's the-
we increased her budget, so she should have
Enough
money
to
in the,
cover it then?
yeah,
Okay.
didn't we? I'm sure we did.
By 35,000, yes. So that should be coming out of that line item. For this, specifically for the horses.
Well, it jumped right through that bill there, did you see it?
Mhm. I didn't pay attention, what vet are they using?
I think it was Elkhorn, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Roughly 4,000 there.
That's quite a bit, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah. The sooner we get rid of those horses, the better it's gonna be, I think. It's, pretty damn expensive.
it is, and it doesn't sound to me like it's gonna happen soon.
At least the judge said to get rid of those 5, so
Mhm.
that, but that's still, 24, 25 out there.
The dogs with that puppy farm in Jefferson County, that was almost a year that the county was responsible for that. And the horses in Yellowstone County was just over a year at this point. I'm not sure if it's still going, is it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yellowstone
does.
County?
Mhm.
No, because we bought some of the horses.
Oh, okay, all right, that's been settled, but
So-
yeah, it's a long
I need to
process.
sign that one.
I think there's a stack that I haven't
Oh, okay.
signed at
Never
this
mind then.
point.
We've got it mixed up, that was my fault.
That's all right, I'll just catch up after.
In fact, Leachman is now suing the county over the horse deal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I saw it in the newspaper the other day.
Who did you say it's soon?
Leachman,
Oh,
that big place down out of Billings. And he wasn't happy with it at all. But my understanding was that he was on ground that belonged to the natives. They wanted him out of there and it didn't happen.
Well, we are a little bit early. How about we move the commissioner's community update up? Since we have about 8 minutes. Franklin, what'd you do this week?
Yeah, I didn't go to any meetings, I had another call and the TV, they were losing signals. And then, this pertains to, I guess Brenda called me on Tuesday evening, and wanted to know if I would take my equipment, donate it, and bury those 2 horses they were gonna put down, and 2 old horses out there. And I told her I would, they were saying it was Thursday or Friday. And I told her, I was on a job north of town here. I says, I'll do it, but I says, I'm gonna, depends how this job's going, I said, better have a backup plan. Well, she called me on Wednesday and they moved it up, they decided to do it that day. And so they just got the road crew to go in and bury him.
Where'd they bury him at?
I don't know, I assumed out there at the, where down the Magic out there.
Yeah. Their grounds back in the back.
Yeah.
I spent all of Thursday morning with Rocky. They've been advertising for over a year for a new administrative chief. And so they had it narrowed down to 2 and called and asked if I'd come in. One lady works with the Department of Corrections. The other lady is in the health field out of Alaska. And they narrowed it down and all, pardon me, all the different department heads were there to ask questions. Myself and the other board members that were there just to observe and see. Very, very interesting, both qualified. So it'll be interesting. They're meeting today, the nominating committee, to see where they go.
Wonderful,
It was a good meeting,
wonderful. It's been a long time coming.
yeah.
And
I'd
it's a
rather we
good
keep the one
agency.
that's acting there, but
Oh, isn't he amazing?
he's very good.
Yeah. He's taken a really tough situation
Mm.
and made lemonade out of it.
Mhm.
Didn't have anything official, just individual meetings this week, just with citizens. So it was a pretty easy week as far as that goes. Didn't make it home before 9 o'clock any day this week, so it's busy, but good week.
I have one other thing. I got a call from a citizen that was following solid waste semi to Elm, and they were spewing garbage all along the way.
Oh, no.
So he's hoping to get that stopped.
Absolutely.
There must be a hole in the screen over the top.
Did you share that with Brian?
Mhm.
Okay. And
On
I
that
think he's up.
TV, there was, or try to have that, a meeting with that TV fellow, what is gonna take place on that?
Mm-hmm. What are the board? So when would you like to meet? Do you wanna try and meet next week?
Well, I mean, right, during a regular meeting,
Would have to be after because it's a separate board.
we're right at the end of the meeting, yeah.
Like the Board of Health, we can schedule it at 3 next Monday. Okay. And we'll see if we can get Charlie either on the phone or here in person for that.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, well, that was it, what's the date on that?
Next Monday?
12th, okay.
Well, you know, we're a few minutes early. Ann, would you go and see if Doug is available? It's 4 minutes, it's kind of ridiculous. But instead of just sitting here.
Cootie, your paper's getting bigger and bigger. Good job.
We had a 20-page week a couple weeks ago.
And there's something to read in there.
We tried.
You do well.
Well, I saw the baby goats the other day.
Are they cute?
The ones, the first ones that were born, they've grown so much, and they've all been handled so much, they just wanna crawl on you. One of them he just keeps, or she keeps jumping up on you, and if you squat down, she'll hop up on you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And just eat on anything, camera straps, notebooks.
They're not particular, but they're gonna chew on them.
So a human shows up and they just run at you.
Cute. It's just like anything.
It grows up.
Yeah, they grow. But babies of anything, I think are darling. I think calves are cute, I think horses are cute. But like you say, then they grow up.
Quickly.
Now, is there 7 kids out there now?
Yes. It started with 5 goats and now they have 12.
What a menagerie. The good thing is they're out there where they're getting some care though.
Oh, yeah. And they're separated, they don't have the studs in with the mares anymore. Which is a big problem.
Oh, yeah.
They're still, they think some more mares that might be pregnant, so they're gonna have to ultrasound them.
Have they had any colds?
There's one that's ready, she's just not doing anything. They put her in the barn last week. And as of Friday, I think it was when I was up there, hasn't been done anything. So I haven't heard this morning if anything's happening or not.
Sam, thanks for coming early, Doug.
Good morning, Doug.
When I was down there, I was on the phone with Garrett from BIS. He is about a mile and a half out. Got behind some slow traffic, so he'll be here in
Oh, okay,
just a
excellent,
couple of minutes.
excellent.
Can we talk about that letter though?
That way.
The letter on that bill, that tax bill?
To
Forward
Department of
Michael,
Revenue.
right?
Yeah,
Sure.
but I just looked, that's not on the agenda.
We can still talk about it, we just
Okay.
can't vote on it.
Start at the beginning on that, deal, please.
This property was foreclosed on by Everhome Mortgage Company, 2010, I think it was. Michael Wright bought it from them probably at a sale, on the courthouse steps, I'm assuming. He paid, the one thing that's got me kinda a little bit wishy-washy about this is he paid the first half of the 2010 bill, but not the second half. When I talked to him, he told me that they told him he had to pay the first half, and I asked him if he had paid it to a title company. He said he had. The payment came in January, I believe, so it was a couple of months late. So the first half was paid, the second half never was. The bill was, and the Department of Revenue, instead of transferring the parcel into Michael Wright, they transferred it into Evergreen Mortgage Company. I don't know if Evergreen and Everhome are parent companies or what exactly the relationship between those two is. But it was never put into Michael's name, and as a result of that, the bills were being sent to Evergreen Mortgage. The parcel went into tax assignment. And investigating the assignment, just came across Michael Wright's name, so she called him to see if he was involved in the property. He said, yeah, I own that. So he came in and redeemed the tax assignment, ended up paying 600 and I can't remember how much, 659 or something in penalties and interest and 10% to the company that took the assignment, and you know, just a mess. It was something that, it was a Department of Revenue error. It was never put in his name. If he would have called in to check on it, I'm not sure we could have even found the tax bill under the name that was in on the system, other than.
The Department of Revenue didn't have any paperwork to put it in Michael's name, did they?
They did. They had a deed that went from Everhome Mortgage to Michael Wright, and they just put the wrong name in.
Looks to me like that's their mistake.
It does to me too. That's why I had sent them the letter asking if there would be any reimbursement for the late fees and penalty fees. When I talked to the company that did the assignment, they said that they would be willing to overlook the late fees, but by that time, they'd already paid the penalty and interest. There was no way to pay them back what they paid without taking penalty and interest from him. So the late fees they were talking about were $10 or $11. It was,
Jump change.
yeah. Yeah, I just think, it just seems like he got I know he realized he had property and he should have known that the tax bill's on it, but, you know, if you never receive a bill, sometimes it goes out of sight, out of mind, and I'm not sure if that, I think that's probably the first piece of property he's ever bought. The only one he has on the tax rolls now that we've changed it, but it just seems like he got kind of a raw deal on that one, and it is all Department of Revenue error.
Have you sent them a letter, or are you getting ready to send them a letter?
No, I sent them a letter. I sent a letter to Mike Cadis, Rocky Harrelson, and Judy Tice, and I CC'd it to you three. I haven't heard back from any of them yet.
It was just on Friday though, right?
Yep.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're checking with maybe their legal departments. I'm not sure what they're doing. I called Paulette Dard and Lewis and Clark, she's their treasurer there, asked her if she had ever had any kind of a situation like this come up, and she said in a case like that, what she does is she goes back on the interest payment that the people that took the assignment does. She says she goes back on that and withdraws the interest from each individual account, that interest goes into schools, hospitals, whatever, and reimburses it that way.
Come on out.
Hey, Garrett. Sorry about that.
But that's quite a job.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty lengthy process to do it that way. It's not easy undoing that interest, once it's been given out.
Thanks.
I don't know if you guys have met Garrett.
No, we haven't. Hi Garrett, I'm Laura Olbert, nice to meet you.
Elaine Gravely.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. Sorry for being a few minutes late. Traffic is already getting bad out there.
Yeah, we were talking about other stuff, so actually your timing couldn't be any more perfect.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad
just
to
the
hear
season
that.
for traffic and construction.
So, and I'm not sure what, exactly where we're at with this, but we had three quotes come in, one from GIS Technology, one from Morrison Merrily, and one from, First.
First call.
First Call. And, looked them all over, you guys were more inclined to go with DIS, and I know when three companies came and did their walkthrough, Garrett was the one that came and went to the sheriff's office, he went to the county attorney, looked our office over, he found several things that the other two companies didn't even
Missed.
yeah, and First Call sent, they sent a saleswoman, they didn't send anyone that had any IT experience, so, you know, had they sent someone with IT experience, they probably would have picked that up, but, I was just so much more impressed with DIS, with everything that they picked up. Garrett's already worked, he's worked on sheriff systems, that's how he came to work with them, I believe, but, their figures were better and their knowledge looked to me like it was heads and shoulders above the other two, from what I saw.
Well, thank you for those kind words, Steph. Appreciate that.
We looked at the three companies side by side, too, and aside from what Doug had said, the services seemed to be, that you were offering more, and your prices seemed to be better than the other two. So, I think we're ready for the hard sell.
Okay. When I put together the ROS, and I think you guys probably had a chance to look at it, I brought a copy of it. Essentially what we do is we come in and we do an on-site assessment of where you're currently at in infrastructure needs and where you need to go, in our opinion, to make it to where you're, you know, secure, stable, and reliable. The hardest thing with counties is finding a system that's very reliable, because you have such a big vertical of people. I mean, you have everything from clerk and court treasurers to sheriffs. Big difference in technology and what's needed. The one thing, Doug is absolutely correct, my background's in law enforcement technology, so I know a lot on the law enforcement side of things and how to make it function. And DIS, you know, when I came to DIS, I started the IT services division, so I'm the one that actually developed our plan of how we do things, how we conduct business, and how we can make sure that we can be good for you guys. All of our clients view us as part of their team. We're not just this outside vendor, we're actually part of the staff. They treat us just like we were there, you know, you have a problem, they call just like you, if I was sitting in your office. And that's the way we like it. I mean, it's that type of relationship that we do very well with. And I'd be more than happy to give you guys some, you know, contacts for other counties that we've come into, you know, we come into play and gonna hear glowing reviews. The one thing I guess I didn't know, so I couldn't get you a full contract, was how many devices total we were actually going to support. Because when I was here, I did hit all those offices, but I didn't know who all was interested in going. I have a copy of the contract we sent over to the attorney's office, because she said she'd come on board regardless. But if we're gonna bring the whole county on board, it just makes sense to do it all at once and, you know, be done with it. The one thing that is different, and I did talk to Gary, who's the president of the company, if the county decides to come all on board, there will be no travel expenses if we have to come on site. So we'll just wipe that out, because I know that's what some of the competitors do. And it's only, realistically, we shouldn't be here unless there's an emergency or unless it's planned. Out of all of our clients, we've never had to make an emergency trip somewhere. It's very rare, because if you're doing your job right behind the scenes, you shouldn't have to be on site. So they'll sit there and they'll try to compete that against our contract by saying, okay, well, we'll give you free on-site time. No, what they're doing is allowing your contract price to be higher, because realistically, you shouldn't have to be here. Everything we can do is taken care of remote, as long as the internet's up. You have a reliable internet connection, which you do, we would, you know, be able to get remote in and do anything we need to do.
What are some of the counties that you have now?
Oh, let's see. Your size, Powell County, we took them over about this time last year, and they went from having all kinds of technology problems to none. You can give Sheila Finko a call over there, she's our main contact. Let's see, we have Mineral County, Superior, we have Phillipsburg, Granite County. We have Custer County, Dawson County, Bighorn County, Judith Basin County. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Our main vertical is government, just because we've already had good relationships through our microfilming and document imaging, image silo. You've probably seen Matt's always around talking about that. So county is kind of where it's at, plus my background really helps with county, having all that knowledge of government, and then law enforcement within there. So counties have kind of been where we've really made our mark. And the other part is the one thing I think makes it a little different. My degree is actually in finance, so I'm really fiscal smart on what needs to be done and not just spending money. And that's coming to help us a lot. So the one thing, I won't sell you what you don't need. If I'm recommending it, it's because there's a real need for it. Otherwise, I'm not in the business to sell hardware. I'm in the business to make you guys happy. And that's what my job is. I'm not a salesperson, which is why, when Doug said they sent the salesperson, that's why I always do our OSs. I've tried to have Matt, our sales guy, do it, and you miss a lot when you're not in the technical side of it. So I've done every one of them since then. So.
In some of the counties, do you have just the sheriff's office ever?
No, actually, we have two sheriff's offices that we're directly responsible for, in Mineral County and Bighorn County. And Bighorn County just signed up with us fully a few months ago. The sheriff just signed up with us because they have a big audit coming up from the FBI that they've never had, and their network is in pieces. So I had 60 days to make the network right. And I'm gonna actually be in Billings doing that next week. They're doing the install. I've been in contact with the Department of Justice and all that to make sure that everything goes by smoothly. So.
Garrett, can I interrupt for 1 second? Nick, can you hear okay? Do you want
Yes.
to come up? Okay.
Yep, I can.
We have the detention center administrator
How are you,
behind
sir?
you.
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
I don't know if you two have met, but.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure that you can hear because.
Yes, yep.
All right. Sorry about that, Garrett.
That's all right. So that one is being fully implemented next week. And then Mineral County Sheriff's Office, we're doing the same thing. They had an okay network, but what had happened with them is they've kind of gotten neglected over the years. And, we're just trying to piece it all together. And the other big part is we're moving them off the state of Montana for their internet, which gives them a lot better service and initial cost savings of $600 a month.
Oh,
That's just initially, just off the internet side of it, which is a lot of money for a small county.
oh, sure. Sure.
So
And every little bit counts, even for a big county.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And they'll get better performance anyway, because the state of Montana kind of throttles back how much bandwidth or how much internet pipe you have.
Mhm.
We're gonna take that out of the picture, and they'll have the full amount, and they can go anywhere and do anything they want, because they're the administrator of the network. Right now, you have to ask the state of Montana, can I go there, can you be exempt? So, there's a lot of counties doing that right now.
Sounds to me like that's a real plus.
It is, it's a big plus. Especially for law enforcement, because, your normal employees, you're not gonna go out to, maybe you'll go to Facebook and do stuff like that. Some of them actually have legitimate reasons to be there. Others, they don't. Law enforcement, you go to a lot of places you don't wanna go to. I used to have to do investigations, help with the child pornography and things like that. There's places that nobody wants to go, but you kinda have to. And when you have the state kind of restricting where you can and can't go, that slows down your investigation. It's just a lot better to have somebody that's, you have complete control of your network. Because you know where you need to go. And if you can save money, that's an added bonus.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, as far as, I guess, Doug, to answer your question on the hard sell, how many computers are we talking about total? And then I can get you a total price. We don't base our numbers out strictly off of the number of computers. It plays a part, but what we look at is the network as a whole, the complexity of the network. If you had 5 computers in a simple work group versus, 5 computers in a domain, it's gonna be a little different pricing because there's more work that has to go on when you have a server involved and things like that. So I can't just sit there and say it'll be X number of dollars per PC.
Nick?
Will that change? I know we have a server that you looked at, and I also know the county attorney has a server. Will that change? Will those things change? Will those go away and we'll have one giant server?
That's a good question, and that's what I wrote in my review of systems. Basically, the county is at a good point to where they can determine what they want to do. Honestly, with the sheriff's office, I'd keep separate.
Okay.
Just because that allows you to As you progress and you start storing digital evidence and stuff like that, it allows you just to make sure there's not too many hands that can even access it.
Okay, okay.
It just keeps everything a little more tight. So the sheriff's office I see is always being separate. The county attorney, however, I don't. I think you should merge them into one. We can lock down their files tight to where nobody can access it. We did that for Powell County as well.
Okay,
And, you know, there's really no reason to sit there and have them have their own network, especially the way it's set up now, because really they're on their own network, but they're not. They're a subnet of yours. And if you do want a true division, then we need to configure that differently, but I just don't see it. I don't see the reason for it. She only has 3 computers over there.
mhm. All right. So it'd be based on the number of computers and the number of servers
Right.
that would determine.
Right, and then we'll look at it as a network as a whole. The rest of the network is pretty simple for what you're asking for.
Okay, so before we could get a solid contract, you would need to spend some time counting all that stuff and.
I have an idea. I mean, I put in there how many we counted when, you know, I went through the walkthrough. I think there's 28 and, you know, 28, 3 servers is what I show. One of them's yours, one of them's attorneys, and one of them's sheriff's office.
Okay. So if that were to be decreased to 2, tying the county attorneys into the rest of the county, that would
It would
result in
save
a
you
little bit
money,
of,
yeah.
okay.
And not only that, but it'd save you in administration too, because then everything is, you know, condensed. You have one network to deal with instead of right now you have basically 3.
So if we were to merge the attorney's server and ours, would we need a new server?
Well,
I mean,
yours,
I know ours is probably
yours
5
was,
years old.
yeah, it's pushing it. According to what I found, it was purchased in October 14th of 2009. And it looks like the warranty expires October 14th of this year. So that does give you a little time to get that put in place. Now, the one thing I'd like to point out with Tyler, you wasn't talks of switching over to Black Mountain or anything, is there at this time?
We're kind of.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about that.
This brings up another point then. I've done both migrations for Tyler and Black Mountain. Strictly from an IT standpoint, I'm not putting any vendors or anything, but strictly from an IT standpoint, it is easier for Tyler. Because the way that Tyler, or with Black Mountain, I'm sorry, the way that Tyler works is that you have to physically remote into the server to control a lot of those applications. That's dangerous from my standpoint, because now I have end users remoting into a server, and in your case, it's controlling your whole network. One wrong move and they're bringing you down. There's no way around it.
That's Tyler.
That's Tyler. With Black Mountain,
That's kind of what we had when I first started as treasurer, is when one of the IT people for Tyler left some file when we were
Yeah.
interfacing, left it open, and we had 3 months where we could make double interfaces, which should never be able to happen.
And it took you a long time to get that fixed.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they had to go to billings, and we paid for it,
Right.
for their error. Yeah, I remember that well.
see what Black Mountain does is they just use open files. So basically, there's a network share. As long as you can access that network share, you can get to their software. So strictly from an IT standpoint, that's the better way to go, just from that. The other thing is, when you start purchasing in new servers, in order to do those remote licenses, those are about $90 a pop, just to be licensed for from Microsoft. You don't have that when you start talking with Black Mountain from that standpoint. So budgeting wise, it'll impact the budget a little bit. If you do stick with Tyler, what I recommend doing is having a separate server just for that, and then having a different server. We could probably use the attorney server, it's new enough to be the actual main controller, network controller for the rest of the network. Because then what happens, and we did this for Powell County, it allows me to segregate out the servers. So this server's strictly Tyler. If somebody messes up with it, it's gonna bring the server down, but we can restore it and not have any network impact to any other department. If it's all on the same server, you have any type of outage, you're taking the whole network down as a whole. The only person that'd be exempt from is the sheriff's office, because they'd be on a separate server. Which is another reason why sheriff's office should probably be on their own server, just so anything that's done here won't impact them.
Sure, absolutely. So Garrett, what does it look like in your opinion if we're talking about switching from Tyler to Black Mountain in August-ish, possibly December, with getting IT services with the IS?
We can start whenever and be there to help you with these migrations. I've done migrations both ways. So, I mean, I know the problems that we're gonna run into ahead of time. I've ran into them already. The only thing that I will caution, if you do put it off until December, the warranty on your existing server expires in October. That doesn't mean anything other than the fact that if you start dropping hardware, you may have to come up with some emergency funds to replace the hardware versus having it replaced by warranty. Dell servers are very good. I very rarely have problems with it even past the 5-year mark, but I do want to throw that caution out there. There's nothing worse than having to do a migration out of necessity instead of being able to right now on your own time. And then, yeah, that'd be the only thing I would see, but there'd be no reason why we couldn't start, even right now, taking over and then moving to this. It doesn't all have to be done right now.
Okay.
It can allow you to at least have a plan in place so you know where it's gonna be along the way. But the attorney server is newer, a lot newer than what you guys are operating downstairs. So
Could we
it's-
move on to the attorney server?
Mhm.
Oh, that'd be nice.
We
Okay,
just have to check licensing.
okay.
That would be the main thing. Because the other thing that often gets overlooked, especially in government, is licensing. So you may be out of compliance with Microsoft. I don't know. I'm not the software police. The only thing I do is make sure you're in compliance when you take over. That way, everybody's covered. There's nothing more embarrassing than for both sides, than having to deal with that. Plus, the fines are quite large. And the other part is, with government, you guys get government discount through Microsoft. I don't know if you've ever had taken advantage of that before, but you do get them.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but
Every little bit helps.
that's right. And it's something that we, are very much aware of and use at all times.
All right.
Can we review what 28 computers you have?
I'd have to go back in my list at the office and
Oh, okay.
review them. We just did rough counts as we walked by. Honestly, the best thing I would probably do is just have each department head, tally up how many computers there are, and if there's some that can go away. Maybe there's hanging there just because, well, that's fine, if that's what you wanna do, just let me know the public ones and we price those a little differently. Cause the chances of, basically, we go off of how much maintenance those devices are gonna take. And, a public one isn't gonna be used by a user every day, maybe a very rare time that it'll come up. So pricing's different. That's why I don't give you a per PC price, because it really, everything is impacted. Like you have the computer attached to that printer downstairs. That's completely different. So, the other thing I will caution though, Doug, and I know you and I've been in contact with those Windows XP machines. I'm showing at least 6 of them.
Right.
And sheriff's office is a really big deal. I don't know if you got shut down on April 9th or not, but
I'm not 100% sure.
any siege terminal, anything that connects to Department of Justice to run names, anything, if it's running XP, they shut you down. You cannot run query at all
Oh,
because of Windows XP. So it's a big deal for you guys, probably more than anybody else, but you should really be looking at getting those replaced sooner than later.
Right, yeah, and we are, that's, I think I just got all my quotes in on that. We were kind of waiting to meet with you to see, because Dell is, I'm thinking about 1,500 cheaper than Tyler, to go through Tyler for machines that have 8 gigs of memory instead of 4.
I think I did a bunch of them this last few months replacing out XP machines, and we were at 810 PC without monitored 3-year warranties. It had the i5, which is a quad-core processor, and 8 gigs of RAM. That's what I've been specking out for all of our accounts.
And we have to have Microsoft Office on the ones that we go through Tyler for.
Do not buy those on the machines, because what happens when you buy, a little geek lesson, maybe more than you guys really want to know, but it'll be there for your lifeline if you're ever going to want to be a millionaire. If you buy a copy of Microsoft Office on a computer from Dell, that copy stays on that computer. It cannot be moved. The computer dies, so does Office. Not to mention you don't get any government discount. What I recommend doing is getting your volume licensing set up, because then you can purchase it. Once you purchase, if you buy 10 copies of Microsoft Office 2013 is what is out there now today, you'll always have 10 copies of that. You can put anywhere, as long as you don't see how many you have. same like, you know, it's a lot easier to administer and you make sure you get the discounts. Plus, it's just, it doesn't die when the PC goes away. So, I think if I remember right, office standard is like $235 or something like that. Whereas, Pro's $380, something like that. So, the difference is access, whether or not you need Microsoft Access. So,
Nick, did you have a question?
I did. You have any difference, is any agency out there using MacBooks or anything like that?
I don't have anybody using it that I'm using,
Okay,
but that doesn't mean it's not capable. What you'll probably run into is with the Department of Justice and stuff like that, it's designed for Internet Explorer.
okay,
So you might run into some issues running Safari, which is their internet browser,
Right.
over Microsoft, but I don't have anybody using it,
okay,
other than the audio video people.
right.
You'll have to tell me if he raises his hand.
Yeah, absolutely. One question before, and I guess it's related to, but we don't have to discuss it right now, but I just wanted to bring it up. Black Mountain was here on Wednesday, and Doug, you were gone, he was looking to talk to you. But I talked to him a little bit about what we've been talking about at our working meetings. And he said that we need to actually get on the list with them, because right now August is looking full. And after August, they will not have an opening until December or January. So, like I said, if we can get on real quick, if something opens up, they can scoot us in sooner. But that's something that we need to address as a board and put on the agenda as well. But I think it ties into what we're talking about.
Were they talking about doing the hosted version, or you guys having your own server here? Did you happen to ask them that?
I didn't, but I believe it was us having our own server.
Okay, because they are starting to offer a hosted version, which means it's being hosted on the web, basically in the cloud.
And actually, that is what they were talking about.
Because if that's the case, then your IT infrastructure wise, the biggest thing you're gonna fight is your internet. Right now, one of the complaints was the internet speed, because it's through the state of Montana. I don't know who is here, I'm assuming Charter's probably here in some capacity, aren't they?
It is chartered.
Yeah, then what I would do is, you're gonna get a lot better connection speed going directly to Charter and cutting the state of Montana out. Cause then you're not throttling back. And as much as it's gonna pain the Department of Administration, and they're gonna squawk about it, it's gonna give you guys a lot better performance. And don't let them try to bully you and say you have to have that for Cgin, cause you don't.
Okay,
They put in the Department of Justice will put in a little VPN, which is just a private network. Essentially, it'll communicate to Helena.
okay,
So you're still fine
okay, perfect.
being on the That was their way in for a long time, was the Department of Justice. Well, Department of Justice finally saw the writing on the wall and allowing people to get off and get on their own. So then your only expenditure would be the firewall.
And, sorry,
No, go ahead.
would you be able to set up, computers to only access certain things then? If we did go that route? Okay,
Yeah, we use the firewall to basically police, for lack of better words, where people can and can't go.
perfect.
And we can exempt like detective computers and things like that too.
Okay, good.
So that's quite common actually, is what we tend to do. Because jailers don't need to be going out to the central place.
Exactly. Right.
Right, so what do we need to do now, Garrett?
If you guys are ready, we have a contract that I can send over. I mean, this is the one we did for the attorney. This is an actual contract. You guys are more than welcome to look at that. That is in place. We have another one that basically just gives us the ability, you're signing a letter of engagement with us, and we'll, start to give you the support as we gear up towards our final finished product. Realistically, we need to know where we're heading. We need to know the direction you want to go in the long run, and where you want to go. In the meantime, we'll support the PCs and servers as they stand, making recommendations along the way of what should and shouldn't be done.
We've had copies of this, copies of everything that you put forward, as well as First Call and Morris and Merrily. This is new information by any stretch for us. We also just met with our insurance carrier, who said, get on IT. We're one of the few counties without any kind of IT support at all. Cyber liability, as you well know, is an issue that we need to be addressing seriously, and at this point, our hands are tied. We're just kinda on hope and a prayer.
And you guys are a member of Mako, correct?
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yeah,
that'll
that's
come
Greg
into play.
Jackson.
Yeah, Greg, yeah.
Yeah.
That comes into play, we do have discounts.
Oh,
We actually do
wonderful.
Mako's IT, I don't know if you knew that or not, but,
No, we didn't ask. Good to know.
yeah, we actually do Mako's IT. So, yeah, I'll make sure that gets applied in there. But yes, right now, one instance of that is in South Carolina. A city got hacked, and it had some water bills stuff, as well as some social security numbers that got hacked. They're still paying for that. I think that last count was $3 million.
Oh,
And they put a 1.5 million in the budget this year alone, just to handle some more. So,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
it is.
And right now,
Yes.
I mean, from an outside coming in, you're pretty protected through behind the state. They do a great job of administering their firewall, in my opinion, a little too good. Because it really locks down what you can and can't do.
Sure.
There's other ways around it, but yes, definitely. And then making sure policies are put in place, password changing. I know everybody hates it, but it's really required to make sure everything's stable. It's your network though. I will make it however you want it to be. We go through and basically have a list of, okay, what do you want your password policies to be? You know, and you tell us how you want it and we'll do it. Sometimes I'll caution against it. We have certain counties that don't want to ever have to change them, which I caution against, but still, you know, it's their network. I'll just do what they say, but I caution.
So you'll guide us through best practices?
Best practices, definitely.
Okay.
And the sheriff's office is a lot more strict, just so you're aware of that.
Okay.
And that's because of the Department of Justice and the FBI.
All right.
So it makes a big difference on their side. And that's where these audits come into play, and it's nice to be able to, because you'll have all the documentation, you just hand that to them and
Oh, okay.
you're done with your audit.
Nice, rather than stressing about it like that other town, was it Mineral?
No, Bighorn.
Bighorn, yeah.
Yeah, Bighorn County. Theirs is June 13th, I think, is when the FBI is gonna be there. So,
Yeah. don't
always a
wanna be in their
stressful
shoes.
time.
Yeah,
Nice turn over documents to hear it all as laid out. So, it's not gonna be, you know, it doesn't, what you guys have here does not scare me, it's not any different than what we deal with on a daily basis. We just need to clean up some of it and, you know, apply some best practice and then get a roadmap. Cause the other part of
Absolutely.
what we strive to do is give you a budget every year. Now, that's where your computer replacement comes in. That's not rocket science. You take the number of computers and divide by 3. You know, and then you can buy musical computers, what I call musical computers inside, because maybe you have somebody that's a real power user. And then you have a PC. You don't need to put a brand new PC sitting there because it's not gonna be utilized. Put it where it needs to go and we'll recondition the other ones to go on less strenuous places. So, saves you money in the long run.
absolutely. And right now, our use of IT is as needed, which is probably the most expensive way to go, and we're paying for travel time,
That's
which is an hour right to start.
Right, yeah, and like I said, we will cut that out. You won't have to pay us any travel if we have to come on site. If we are on site, we still have an hourly on-site rate, just because, I mean, 2 reasons. One is to make sure that we're covering our bases with an employee, because if we're in our office, we're working on 3 or 4 things at once. So we're really pulling a tech away to do that. And then the second thing is we've had, in the past, we didn't used to, we've had people abuse it to where they always demand us to be on site. It's just, you know, it's too much.
Sure,
So,
sure.
not that we can't, like I said, most everything we can take care of remote, I can guarantee you that. We give the city of Miles City a call, they've been a customer of ours for 4 years now, and we've never, ever made an emergency trip up there. It's always been planned, that's 150 miles for buildings.
Yeah,
So, and against what Morrison Merrily said, we do have a Helen office, that's where I'm out of. So, they were trying to tell Carver that we had to come from Billings and it's gonna cost all that money. That's not the case, we have an office in Helena, so. The tech would be dispatched from there. If for some reason those techs were busy, then there may be somebody from Billings, but I won't count on that. And he'd
Yeah.
still be, he wouldn't be charged anyway, because
right.
that'd be our fault, so.
Any further questions from the commission?
I believe so.
Not really.
Well, I would entertain a motion or not to go ahead and enter into an agreement with DIS to go ahead and start the process.
What is the total cost?
Do you have that, since you don't? I highballed it for about it.
I do downstairs.
I left mine downstairs too.
Yeah.
I gave him a highball price on it, given what I knew, and then assumed a little bit more in there. So, but I don't remember. I don't wanna misquote you what I told you.
And I brought it, you know, we talked about it as a commission, I just can't remember the total either.
I can't either.
Yeah, so,
I really can't. There's too many numbers going
Yeah.
around. I should've looked at that before I came, and I forgot all about it.
the bottom line is this is not a service we can any longer go without. Not if we wanna be responsible.
Well, and the thing of it is that IT has grown so much in just the last 5 years. I mean, you have an outage, you have employees that don't even know what to do, they can't do anything. I mean, you have,
Exactly right.
everybody connects to something, either on the internet or locally, and you just don't have it, you're out of business. And, you know, years ago, that wasn't that big of a deal in a county because they could always go through the books or, you know, there's other ways. It's just not possible anymore. And then you throw cybersecurity out there as well. That's huge from an insurance standpoint.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is a big deal.
yeah.
The one piece that was mentioned in here, but we didn't really hit too much, and I'm gonna put it out there now, is your backup scenario, where you're backing up the data that's here. If you're moving to the cloud for Black Mountain, well, that'll be, and the cloud's just internet, it's on their servers, wherever, I think they're out of, I can't think of where their servers are out of. They have an office here, I think they're out of Polsonville. But anyway, their servers they're responsible for backing up their stuff, but you still have user files here, you have the attorney's files, you'll have a sheriff's office.
Is it an automatic backup?
Yes, we would do an automatic backup, and what it would do is basically take a picture of the server, so to speak. So if something happened, you could put that picture on another server and it would just spin up a lot faster or work a lot faster. The one thing you kind of want to try to figure out though is how to kind of get it off site. And honestly, I'd stick one over in the sheriff's office and one here
Okay,
and just communicate that way.
okay.
It'd be the easiest way to do it. And the other thing that was mentioned in there is the cabling. That would be the first order of business, is to get that cabling tested and certified. And what they do is they just make sure it can handle the amount of data, you know, the faster speeds, and make sure the lines are good. Because if those are bad, everything will be not gonna work out very well.
Sure.
Sorry, Doug, I could not remember.
That's all right, I was thinking of the 1800.
That sticks in my head too.
It was in an email, I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Cause that will show you what this is. iOS.
Yeah, this is 28 PCs, 3 servers, 16 to 18 a month total.
These numbers are high. Cause that would be without Mako, discount, everything in there, so.
So what is the total?
16 to 1800 is where it was at before I knew all the
A month.
pieces of it, yeah. Like I said, we can get that more nailed down as I know exactly if that's how many PCs there
And
are.
that's what it says here, 28 PCs and 3 servers.
And that's when I was here counting them. Some of that was Nick just telling me how many were in the different locations.
But we'd only have 2 servers now, right?
Right.
The sheriff's in here.
Unless you stuck with Tyler, you can still have 3, because you probably want to keep them on a separate server, just to keep your network more reliable.
I don't know that we're gonna stay with Tyler.
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna push one vendor over another on that. I've worked with them both.
I did have one question on the Tyler Black Mountain issue. Kind of in the process of trying to get all of our tax records put on microfiche. And our Tyler system goes back to '96. When I had, and I can't think of the company's name now, they've sent us a
Something like Comcast or.
yeah. Anyway, they sent us some, tax bills that they had put on microfiche for us, just so we could look at it, and some samples. And they quoted me, I think it was 55 cents a copy. where they normally charge 85, they said that they would honor their original, quote. But I'm wondering, that's quite a few years of taxes, I mean, that's from 96 to 2014, and none of them have been microfiche. We've always kept paper records, which we still have the paper records. If we go to Black Mountain, all of our backup, computer backup pretty much disappears. I don't know how much of that you can make.
Well, and that comes down to Black Mountain. Judith Basin County just migrated to Black Mountain from Tyler, and they only brought over the last year, I believe. So we actually still have their old server up and running Tyler, so if Mandy Kelly's the clerk and recorder, if she needs to go back and pull up information, she can do that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, that would be one thing is when you start to get into the negotiation process, and I told another county this too, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but they were talking about the same thing, to make sure it's in the negotiation, that you know how much data they're gonna pull.
Because just to throw everything in the mix so we know, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Did you have Matt
It was about,
coach out any of that film either? Cause we still do microfilm.
you know, I didn't,
I'm the wrong person to
Yeah,
talk to.
I don't think I did.
You may wanna just ping him and see what he
Yeah.
We do a lot to where they'll do Tyler exports and then they just send it to us once every 6 months and we film it for them and send it back. So, could be something we could do too.
They were talking like $550 a year for, just for tax records, which have to be kept forever. There's no,
No wiggle room, is it?
no, and we've got a couple of file cabinets in the basement that would work perfect for microfilm. I'm just thinking if we're, you know, $550 a year for 18 years, it might be something just to keep in your minds that we might want to look at, just to get it done, have them down there.
And microfilm still, as far as I know, the only acceptable. They haven't rewritten that for data yet. I know the state's working on some stuff behind the scenes, but it's a mess right now, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't count on it changing in the near future.
Yeah, microfilm is still,
So this is kind of a separate subject
it
to
is.
IT, but
kind of ties
related,
in with
just like
everything
Black
else,
Mountain. Yeah,
but, yeah.
At the heart of everything's IT, that's what I always say.
right,
It's this black hole that comes good, and you can really see when the money comes out, but it's
yeah.
needed in order to do your job, so.
Yeah, basically, it's a, you know, that's one of those things, it's just been neglected for a
Sure.
long time, like our IT service, you know, it's just been out of sight, out of mind, nobody's thought about it.
Right,
Time to start thinking about some of this stuff. I mean, it's like with
Absolutely.
book and recorder, we do have some, record preservation that needs to be done there too, but we at least have a fund set up for record preservation. There's nothing set up on the treasurer's side for taxes for record preservation. And it's every bit, if not more important, than what we're doing on the clerk and recorder's side.
And that side, there is image silo available, or county silos, where we've done a lot for a lot of counties. We can go to commissioner minutes, deeds, property information, things like that. And it's all available online.
So if you did the commissioner minutes, in the silos, would it be to the point where someone could get on there and pull up like Franklin Swift did? And every meeting, every comment that had his name on it would show up? Okay.
Through the use of OCR, as long as it's not handwritten. If you want me to go back into the 20s and, or it was handwritten, I can't do OCR that far back, but it's typed, then yes. And then, as far as new minutes, most of the time they're in Word or something like that, you can dump them right into there as well. And we will type search. So that's why a lot of counties use it. It works really good for the public. They really like it. Because now you don't have to know what meeting date it was. You can just go into a pretty blanket search and find it. So.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you want to put this off again, or do you want to make a decision?
I'm ready to make a decision. I think we put it off long enough. I'm scared to death that we're gonna have a crash and be in a real mess.
So what we need, Garrett, is probably a motion to advise DIS to proceed with what you need to do to put together a contract, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that, like I said, we can send over the contract that basically you're hiring us on an as-needed basis until the firm numbers can get in place. It's our way of covering you and then covering us until we can
Sure.
get to the full number of computers. And then what we do is we just do you get the discounted rate fixed rate of 85 versus 125 an hour. And that's the same rate you'll get if we have to come on site once you're on board with us.
Okay.
So it just gives you that discounted rate, and knowing that you have somebody to call if something breaks. Just know it may take us a little bit to figure out what's wrong because of the network not being fully set up this way. And if you guys wanna do that, I'll have Gary send over that contract, so there's your motion to sign that.
Okay.
What's your thoughts, Franklin?
I think we should keep moving forward here.
Yeah, I think that we've been back too far, too long.
Yeah, and again, we've discussed this
And then
multiple
just
times.
continue on with, you said Black Mountain, there's such a backlog, if we don't get in there right away,
We'll have to put that
I'll
on
give
the
them a call,
agenda.
so that had to be, I'll give them a call for that.
Perfect. All right.
I'll make the motion then,
Okay.
DIS.
I'll second.
Yeah, it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and preliminarily contract with DIS pending the official contract. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So thank you very much. And I'll put that on the agenda for next week and we'll make it official, one way or the other. All right,
On Black Mountain.
right.
If
Yeah.
you need any help on that Black Mountain communication, let me know. I'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you. All right.
Thank you very
Do you need
much.
these or those?
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming down.
Thanks.
You're welcome, sorry for coming in.
That's all right. This was a good topic, good conversation.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Nick Corthals, Detention Center Administrator, prevailing wage request.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
I just think it's,
Okay.
it's good.
Yeah, I do too. It's easy to talk things to death. Hey, Nick.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
So this is sort of, again, the same sort of thing. Some of the numbers did change. I wasn't able to tally it really quick. But we had a better month of April than was projected. So that changed a little bit.
Thank you. That's a nice thing to be able to say rather than, didn't quite reach the
Yeah,
goal.
exactly. Yep, no, we had a better month, so. So pretty much, the reason I wanted to meet with you guys today was, we have a huge need in the, detention center / control center, of keeping staff, not only just keeping staff, but also, hiring staff. And I've done a lot of research in what our, if you go online, and you guys can take a look at this, there is a prevailing wage set forth by the Department of Labor and Industry. And we're in district number 5, which includes Broadwater, Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, and Marr County. And so I knew we're really low in what we pay our staff for the control / detention. Right now, we're at $12.25 an hour is what they start with. And then the only addition that they get is either the COLA or whatever is set forth by the union. Other than that, that's the wage that I pay my staff. We have lost, as you guys are well aware, because many of you have sat on my hiring boards, we have done this 12 times in the almost 2 years I've been the detention administrator. We've gone through the hiring process 12 times. 12 times plus my hourly wage, your hourly wage, Normally I get the undersheriff or sheriff, and also I always get my sergeant in detention to do it. So you're counting in those hourly wages, plus the time that we have spent on our training. We're spending a lot of money and not retaining our staff. The only way I see that we can do this, and I've called Jefferson County, and I've also called Lewis and Clark County. There's no way we can possibly match what Lewis and Clark County pays. They start their detention staff at $17.09 an hour. They can house 6 more people than us, but because of their tax revenue and everything, they're able to pay their staff a substantial amount more.